Cowboy fans and YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting down below. I make these videos for me and you, and they're a little therapeutic, you know. On day 2 of our countdown to D-Day, Dak Prescott signing his long-term deal day, or not. Today I want to talk about his touchdowns. Now, we've discussed Dak Prescott's pros, cons, and stats and everything ad nauseum this whole offseason as to if he should or should not get paid. Now, I'm going to do my breakdowns daily, and we're going to probably rehash some of the same old stuff, but I'm going to do it again anyway, just so people can get a firm grasp. All the haters can come and be detractors, and all the lovers can come in and rejoice. So, as it stands, in his 4-year career so far, he has 97 touchdowns passing. That's not counting rushing, even though he can get it done with his legs. But these are passing touchdowns. In 2016, he put up 23 passing touchdowns. In 2017 and 18, he put up 22. Now, think about that. 23 is his Rookie of the Year campaign. And he had 23. It took him until, week 4 of that season before he finally touched a passing touchdown. It was mostly Zeke Elliott scoring all the points in the Cowboys games, though, during that time. And he finally got on the board. I do believe it was a pass to Dez Bryant against Chicago was his first passing touchdown of his career. And that's with a complement of Dez Bryant, Terrence Williams, Cole Beasley. Zeke Elliott wasn't used too much in the passing game then. And he put up 23. So you think, all right, that's a good start for a rookie and everything. Now, he put up 22 in 2017. 2017 was that year that was almost a wash. Like, oh my God, what the hell? You know, it was a bad season all around. We definitely regressed, but we still pulled it out in the to make it a winning season. It was better than 8-8, basically. It wasn't anything to write home about, but we got a winning season, technically, under Jason Garrett. Now, you think at that time, we're not really improving, we're regressing. And it was basically almost the same exact team from the year before, so why are we going backwards? That aligns with the whole coaching thing. As far as Dak Prescott goes, people wanted to point out that without Zeke and Tyron Smith and Sean Lee and everything, Dak can't play without a compliment. Well, duh. What quarterback can play without a compliment all the time? Not everybody is going to so-called elevate the team around them without players on the outsides and at running back. Even some of the great ones don't exactly win all the time without a compliment. Look at Tom Brady. Without Julian Edelman or Gronk, what was Tom Brady? He was average. So I don't want to hear that he's so great, he makes everybody around him great. Because as you can see, he didn't. Aaron Rodgers isn't that great when he doesn't have wide receivers to throw to either. You know? So I don't want to hear that mess. We haven't heard anything from Russ, even though everybody keeps saying he's one of the best. Russell Wilson ain't doing much in Seattle when he doesn't have some wide receivers doing something for him. If it's all on him, that's all they talk about. I don't hear anything about the rest of the team being elevated around him. So there's that argument. But Dak still managed to put up 22 in a season that saw him basically, after that Atlanta game and Chaz Green was a turnstile, he was skittish in doing everything. You could see in the way he played that he was afraid he was going to get hit every time he turned around, because the line was just shit poor without Tyron at left tackle, and without Zeke, they didn't have to load up the box. So what running threat did we have that was going to scare defenses to not play up in the box? You know? And all these people who kept saying, oh, well, you could get any running back to run behind that line and they'll be great. No, they fucking weren't. They were not that good. So I don't want to hear that bull. Not every running back can run behind our line, no matter what year it was, and be that great. And it showed. So that was that year, 2018. We looked like doo-doo again to start, because we lost Dez and everything in the offseason. They thought Allen Hurns and Cole Beasley and Terrence Williams was going to be okay. No, we got rid of T. Will too, and they thought we were going to be okay with Hurns, Beasley, recently drafted Gallup, and I think T. Will was there now. I can't remember, because I know he had his issues in the offseason. We got rid of him eventually, and they thought we'll be just fine playing with a committee instead of just having a Dez Bryant full on. They were sorely wrong about that, and at least they admitted their mistake, but too bad it was way too late. So we made the trade for Coop halfway through the season, and it turned us around. Now, we're not going to say it was solely based on that, but it definitely opened up a lot. In my opinion, because he made 22 touchdowns that season as well. It was an uptick after the first, up to the bye week, because we were getting hammered. We couldn't win for anything. And again, it goes back to coaching, because Amari Cooper and others, wide receivers that were not on the team, Bryce Butler and such, said that the play calling was so simplistic, everybody knew what they were doing all the time. And when they switched it up against Philly, that's the only reason they won. So, again, him getting 22 was an average. And the play calling could have been better, and we probably would have looked different. But we did make the playoffs. We did beat Seattle with the same simplistic shit. I think that game was more of what Seattle didn't do more than what we did to win, basically. Because we could have lost that game. Because we come out with a slow start like we did every fucking game with Jason Garrett. And it showed again in LA. The Rams just creamed us. It showed the lack of coaching. It showed the lack of attention to certain spots on the roster due to the same coaching. And it showed a lack of originality in play calling. Other DBs who've been on the team or are on the team still showed how Chris Richard and Rod Marinelli's meshing of schemes was not working. You were hoping that all these twist stunts and all this other bull that they were hoping for would get home, but these corners would never look back for the ball. So it was a combination of player execution, bad coaching, bad scheming, and everything else that just made us look bad in that game. So we exited out the playoffs that year. Again, Dak threw for 22 touchdowns, which went up severely when Coop came in, and you had Gallup on the other side now starting. You had Cole Beasley, but he started to show his frustration basically with the play calling and everything, and it manifested into him not resigning that offseason, where he went to Buffalo, said they were better training facilities, blah blah blah, and I loved you, Cole. We gave you a chance after you tried to quit. And then you turned coat on us, basically. Because you weren't getting what you thought was a more starting role. I mean, technically you're a starter because you're the slot guy. On the depth chart, you are a starter. But you thought you could do so much more. And that's fine, but let's be honest. When you're 5'10" and you're being covered by a 6'2" guy, I'm not putting you on the outside to run routes. Because they're going to cover that all day. And it showed when they tried to do that. When you had bigger guys that knew what routes you were running and they had you blanketed, we saw that you couldn't do anything. So you getting frustrated at stuff was not going to help you. And then 2019 came and Kellen Moore was offensive coordinator. All right, we can see a little something different. I mean, it's still Jason Garrett's offense, and I don't care what people say. I still think Jason Garrett put a lot of input into a lot of those plays. It wasn't just Kellen Moore doing that stuff. And Dak put up 30 touchdowns that year, which is great. I mean, he definitely had a major uptick. The offense was more predicated to run through him than Zeke in previous years. And the fact that his players dropped a lot of passes. And the fact that Randall Cobb had a bunch of touchdowns come back because of penalties. So you could have added quite a few touchdowns to this list in 2019, and then you'd be like, God dang. You know, he'd have had over 5,000 yards, and he'd have had about 35 touchdowns. Oh, I'm so sorry. And you think, okay, well, now he's got about a 24, 25 touchdown average per season. Now, back in the day, if you said Troy Aikman threw 22, 23, 24 touchdowns a season, that'd have been great for him because Emmitt Smith was taking in the rest of them. We are not that kind of team. I mean, with Pollard and Zeke, we can be, but that depends on now how the new coaching is going to go. So in all, he's got about 100 touchdowns in his career, which is pretty good in 4 years. If he does another 4 years like that, he's going up the touchdown list pretty darn quick. But, you know, it's all going to be predicated on his receivers, how they're going to deal with that coming up with, like Michael Gallup's contract is going to be coming up soon. Are they still going to keep paying Coop all this money when CeeDee Lamb's on the cheap? Are they going to be using the running backs more as a receiving threat? And so forth. How's the play calling going to be any different or better? You know? So we'll have to see what's going to change, what's going to stay the same. But in all, I think Dak is going to improve. He's been improving touchdown-wise over the years. And that's with the same coaching staff and shit play calling all these years. So the only difference in the uptick has been Kellen Moore. That's the only difference in all these years of the little bit of difference. I mean, because you saw that with Dez Bryant, you got 23, 22 touchdowns a season. And with Coop, you got 22, 30. And then the only difference is Malcolm Gallup has now came on thanks to Coop being on the other side. And, you know, the play calling has been a little bit different. Little bit more play action. Not too many screens, but you got players who can take it to the house when they catch the ball. Hence, drafting CeeDee Lamb. Because you can think he could take it to the house on almost any catch as well. So, as long as Dak works on his accuracy issues, and the line can keep him upright, I think the touchdown number will stay between that 23, 25 touchdown range. I don't think it needs to get up to 30. That means we're playing from either behind and we're playing catch up. It's more of a passing time instead of using Zeke and Pollard on the run game. And, those are the only reasons that there should be an uptick in more passing touchdowns. Unless it's like Madden and every ball he throws becomes a touchdown, But between 23, 25 touchdowns next season, I'm predicting is a fair number. Even when he was inaccurate, a lot of times his receivers drop passes or they hit it in their hands, off their chest, off their heads, and it'd be an interception or drop or something. So that'll be what I'll talk about tomorrow, are the interceptions, and we'll go through basically how those numbers came about. It's a big discrepancy. If you've looked at his stats year to year, it fluctuates. But we'll talk more on that tomorrow. But what do you think? I think the 23 to 25 touchdowns is realistic. They shouldn't need to predicate more of the offense through him, but they can, if need be, either by throwing or using his legs. Hopefully with Mike McCarthy's looking into the offense and with Kellen Moore doing what he did in like the first 3 weeks of last season when we were 3-0, that kind of play calling was original. It hadn't been seen, and obviously other teams did not plan for it because it was Kellen Moore basically running the offense then. And then Jason Garrett stepped in, and then the offense went back to the same old predictable bull, and we started losing again. So that's my opinion. I'm not going to talk about the rest of the team unless it's directly related to Dak right now. We'll handle that more when it gets towards training camp and everything. But that's it for today. I'll come back at you tomorrow with the interceptions discussion. Hope you have a good day. Take care. Stay safe. It's still a madhouse out here. Be careful. I don't want anybody to go down being sick or anything like that. And I'll talk to you later. If anything else happens, we'll get it to you. I don't really want to make any more videos today, so I'll say it quickly. The NFL has talked about losing preseason game 1 and 4. 1 because they need a more break time to get acclimated back to football situations, and week 4 was taken out because it's nothing but the bottom rung players fighting for spots on the roster anyway. So included in that is the NFL looking to reduce the roster sizes to about 75 to 80 people instead of the usual 90. So when it comes to cutoffs after those 2 preseason games, it'll be a little bit easier, but it means a lot more players are not going to get the opportunity to show what they got. Also, the NFLPA has not signed off on those 2 preseason games. So we'll have to see how that goes. Right now, it looks like that's what the NFL wants, and surprisingly, they're willing to lose money that way just to get these guys more settled and ready for a regular season. And we haven't even talked about if they're going to have regular season game cancellations yet. We'll have to see as it goes on. And last thing, if you have a ticket to the game, I've seen reports that they may have to have people sign waivers to be a fan at the games, just in case anything happens to them, they want to have themselves in the clear. So take care of yourselves out there. What the I'm at work. I gotta go. I see somebody's already done destroyed shit. Talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Peace.